In the dead of winter, across the desolate landscape of Devon, England, something unholy was stirring. On the night of February 1855, villagers awoke to an ominous sight. Their world was blanketed with snow. And amidst that pristine white expanse, there were tracks. They looked like footprints, but they weren't human. And the strangest part, these prints led away from the village and into the wilderness. These mysterious tracks marked the beginning of a terrifying ordeal. No one knew who or what was out there, stalking them in the night. Over the next few days, the prints continued to appear, stretching further and further into the heart of Devon. They marched in a straight line, seeming to mock the very notion of confinement. They crossed rivers, climbed rooftops, and even passed through locked doors. This wasn't just a case of footprints in the snow. It was a spectacle that defied explanation, a chilling ballet of the macabre. The terror escalated. The devil himself seemed to be loose in Devon, and the tracks were his calling card. People huddled in their homes, terrified to venture out. Priests thundered from pulpits about the wrath of Satan, and many fell to their knees in prayer, begging for deliverance. Weeks turned into months. The tracks continued to appear, weaving their sinister path through the countryside. Then, just as mysteriously as they began, they vanished. The devil, it seemed, had finished his promenade, leaving behind a trail of fear and unanswered questions. But here's the enigma. No one knows who made these footprints. There are theories, speculations, whispers of an ancient evil stirring. But the truth remains elusive, buried beneath centuries of mystery. So why should you care about these footprints today? What makes this centuries-old tale relevant in our modern world? These footprints symbolize the enduring power of the unknown. In an age of science and technology, we often think we've explained or conquered everything. But the devil's footprints remind us there are still mysteries out there that defy our understanding. They also represent the depths of human fear and the lengths we'll go to explain the inexplicable. In the face of the unknown, humans have always sought to find meaning, to categorize and understand. And the devil's footprints are a testament to that. Whether it was the devil himself or some otherworldly being that left those tracks in the snow, they continue to fascinate and terrify us. The story of the devil's footprints is a haunting reminder that there are some things in this world that we may never fully comprehend. It's a story that has echoed through the ages, carried on the winds that sweep across the desolate landscapes of Devon. It's a tale that begins not with a bang, but with a whisper. A whisper of unease that crept through the villages of Devon like a winter's chill. The year was 1855, and the place was a small town nestled in the rolling hills of southern England. Life moved at its own unhurried pace, much like the slow churn of the seasons. Then came the night that changed everything. Snow fell softly, blanketing the town in a serene white silence. When the villagers awoke, they saw not only snow, but also an anomaly in the drifts. There were footprints. Not the prints of men or women, nor the tracks of any known animal. These tracks were cloven hooves, deep and disturbing. And they were marching in a straight line, unwavering and ominous. To understand the impact of this discovery, you have to know that in the 19th century, rural life was strictly regulated by tradition and faith. For these people, the world was a well-defined place. Daylight hours were spent working the land, tending to livestock and fulfilling one's duty. Evenings were filled with the simple pleasures of hearth and home, where flickering candlelight chased away the encroaching darkness. Religion, too, played a central role in their lives. Christianity, with its rigid doctrines and promises of salvation, provided a comforting structure in an otherwise uncertain world. When the devil's footprints first appeared, they shattered this sense of order. It was as if the very foundations of their existence were crumbling beneath them. The familiar became strange, and the night itself seemed to hold its breath in anticipation of something terrible. Imagine waking up in your quaint village, tending to your daily chores, and then stumbling upon something that defies all reason and logic. The world, as you knew it, suddenly tilts on its axis. That's the kind of shock the villagers must have felt when they first laid eyes on those hoof prints. This moment of discovery is crucial because it marked the beginning of a psychological journey. As the tracks continued to appear, so did a growing sense of dread. The devil was loose, and the tracks were his calling card. The concept of the devil in 19th century England was both feared and revered. He was the personification of all that was considered sinful and dangerous. To believe that he was loose in your midst meant that the boundaries between good and evil were becoming blurred. It was a terrifying thought that shook the very core of their religious beliefs. As the devil's footprints snaked through the countryside, panic began to grip the villagers. Whispers turned into shouts, and soon the entire town was buzzing with fear. The peaceful rhythm of their lives was replaced with a cacophony of anxiety. This atmosphere of fear wasn't just a byproduct of the story. It was an integral part of it. It intensified with each new track that appeared, making the prospect of venturing outdoors increasingly daunting. It was as if the devil himself was testing their resolve, daring them to defy his presence. Days turned into weeks, and the tracks kept appearing, seemingly relentless in their advance. The devil's footprint continued to mock the efforts of the townspeople. They tried everything to stop it, from prayers and religious rituals to locking themselves indoors. But nothing seemed to work. The devil had them surrounded, and the tracks were his battle lines. Finally, as abruptly as it began, the spectacle ended. The devil's footprints vanished, leaving behind a community forever altered. No one could explain what they had witnessed. No rational mind could comprehend how cloven hooves could traverse rooftops and pass through locked doors. All they were left with were the memories and the scars of their ordeal. Some people never ventured outside again, haunted by the specter of the devil lurking just beyond their doors. Others fled the town, seeking solace and normalcy elsewhere. The once tight-knit community was torn apart, fractured by fear and uncertainty. Yet even in the face of such terror, humanity's curiosity always finds a way to the surface. People began speculating about the origin of the tracks. Rumors spread like wildfire, carrying tales of an ancient evil stirring in the heart of Devon. Some said it was the devil himself, testing the strength of their faith. Others whispered of demons set loose to claim innocent souls. Each story added another layer of complexity to the mystery, turning the simple footprints into a symbol of profound theological questions. This period of speculation and soul-searching wasn't merely a response to a bizarre event. It was a testament to the human psyche's need to make sense of the inexplicable. In the absence of concrete answers, people turned to religion, folklore, and superstition. The devil, with his association with sin and chaos, became a convenient, albeit terrifying explanation. It allowed them to categorize the experience, to put it in a box labeled evil, and push it away. This tendency to seek religious explanations didn't stem from a lack of intellect or understanding. Rather, it was a reflection of the deep-seated human need for order and meaning in the face of chaos and suffering. Even today, when reason and science seem to offer explanations for most phenomena, we still turn to faith and spirituality when confronted with the unknown. The mystery of the devil's footprints continues to captivate us because it mirrors our own struggle to understand the world around us. In a world where chaos and suffering sometimes seem to outweigh order and justice, the story serves as a reminder that we may not always have answers. It's a story that resonates with our deepest fears and our unquenchable thirst for understanding, making it as relevant today as it was in the snow-covered villages of 19th century England. The question is, would you follow the footprints? Would you dare to walk in the footsteps of the devil? Or would you stand frozen in fear, contemplating the abyss that lies beyond? If you choose to follow, what do you hope to find at the end of those tracks? And if you choose to stay put, what keeps you from going insane under the weight of the unknown? The devil's footprints invites us to confront our deepest fears and to examine the limits of our understanding. It challenges us to ask fundamental questions about faith, reason, and the nature of evil. It forces us to confront the darkest recesses of our minds where fear and superstition hold court. In the end, the story doesn't provide easy answers. It leaves us suspended in a realm of uncertainty, forcing us to confront the unsettling truth that some things may never be fully explained. The devil's footprints in the snow remain an enigmatic spectacle, a chilling reminder of the enduring power of the unknown.